Good evening, welcome. Tonight we're going to be talking about Sales Navigator and how to sell more with Sales Navigator. Welcome. I'll have a look in the chat just to see that you're all here. So if you're joining from YouTube, Facebook, wherever it is, great to see you, nice to have you. We're going to give it a couple of minutes just for everybody to get in. There's some weird folk just in some of the chats saying, go to this link to watch this. You're already here, so you don't need to navigate away from this chat. So welcome if you're joining us on YouTube. If you're joining us on LinkedIn, do say hi in the chat, so I'm not talking down a lens of a camera to nobody. Hi Linda, hi Vladimir, hi Marcia. Welcome. We're going to give it a couple of minutes just to let everybody get in wherever they're joining, but do let us know where you're joining from in the chat. Some of you will have seen, hi Tony, some of you have seen me email over the weekend. I sent you a little video about how you can use some of the hidden features within Sales Navigator. Hi Chelsea, excuse me. So I'm going to kind of walk you through some of the things you can do to actually get business from Sales Navigator. Excuse me. Hi Adil, hi Matthew, hi Stephen. Stephen, I hope you got that little video from me today. Hi Paul, hi Bev. I recognise so many names here from people I know or I'm connected to on LinkedIn. Martin, Carlos, really great to see you all. Martin's got sunglasses on. Hopefully it's warm where you are. It's freezing here at the moment. Hi John from Toronto. Sunbal, Rendir, Andrea. Yeah, good crowd today. Cecilia, Vladimir from Ukraine. Let's have a look. Daniel, Peter, Vikash, Kamala. Awesome. Nice to see so many people coming tonight. David Wood, you're not stalking me, honest. Yes, so it's really fascinating how you remember so many names. So what I thought I'd do tonight was really, over the weekend, I sent an email to some people about some features where LinkedIn suggests people to you who have an interest in you in Sales Navigator. If you haven't watched that video, I'm going to ask our tech team to put it in the chat on LinkedIn and on YouTube. You'll have to put it in as Maverick, otherwise it'll hide the link. But it's a video I did which shows you leads that you can follow up with. Hi Alicia, UK there. Ed from Savannah, Georgia. We're at Richard Johnson. Hi Art Jackson, Texas. Awesome. Marcia from Uruguay. Nicole, welcome. All good there. So over the weekend, I did a video about LinkedIn and Sales Navigator. I put it up on my YouTube. I was showing some of the guys it earlier. They thought the thumbnail was brilliant, by the way. I'd love to take credit for designing it, but I didn't. But tech team, do you know which video I'm on about? Perfect. So we'll put that in the chat just in case you missed it, because it is a feature in Sales Navigator that LinkedIn will say, hey, guys, these people are showing interest in you. These people, go talk to these people. So this is a feature in Sales Nav that you can get. Hi, James from Cumbria. James, I said you may need to post that as Maverick there. James Leaper, I was talking to James Leaper earlier this week, and he's in Cumbria, which for those of you who are international, it's north, it's as north in England as you can go, and it's freezing there. So, yeah, evening, David Perry. So go check out that video. And on that video, you'll be able to, if you click that link, that video, you'll be able to watch about where you can find those leads. So tonight, what I'm going to do, I'm going to walk you through some features in Sales Navigator, talk to you about how and why you should use it, and give you some tips and tricks to find people who are more likely to respond to you, more likely to connect to you, and it's going to be easier to get some traction with. So, Brill, that video seems to be working okay for everybody on YouTube and LinkedIn. Hi Bagdana, welcome there. So if you're not familiar with Sales Navigator, just let me give you a brief overview. LinkedIn.com, which is what we're all usually using, is the standard LinkedIn. Sales Navigator is an add-on, which if you're trying to get business from LinkedIn, is an essential. And the reason it's an essential is because you can find people more accurately and it's more focused. So it's really important that you understand it is a bit of money. It is a bit of money, but it will save you a ton of time. If you tot up and go, okay, it's going to cost me, I don't know, $70, $80 a month or whatever, whichever package you go for, how much time will I save? And how much faster will I be able to reach my target audience? David, yes, it's absolutely worth the money. So just if I'm going to share screens, so we'll just put me up on screen. So this is me, by the way. So if you've never been to our sessions before, please come find me, come and connect with me. That's absolutely fine. Follow me, all of that stuff. But I want to kind of jump to Sales Navigator and just a bit of admin. I am going to ask a bit of admin. If you want to ask a question, please put it in the chat. The chat's literally in front of me. So as you go, I'll answer questions. So first things first, Sales Nav, you sign up, and when you're in it, most people go, I don't know what to do with it, right? I've got these great search tools, but I don't really know what to do with it. So what I want to do is show you some of the key features that can be really powerful on Sales Nav, show you how to use them, and show you how you can use them to get potential business from LinkedIn. Now, of course, I'm only showing you something in an hour or less, so I'll go as fast as I can. I'll be as comprehensive as I can. Kamla, yes, this is all recorded. You can come back to the event again tomorrow. So come back to the event on our company page. If you're watching on YouTube, you can come back to the link tomorrow. And if you want any of the resources I mention in today's session, just drop us an email. I'll put our email on screen. So drop us an email. I'll leave that up. So if you need any questions on this, it's there. Right, okay. So when you come into Sales Navigator, let's have a look. So when you come to Sales Navigator, I'll sort the link out for you in a minute, Marie. We'll get the link working there. When you come into Sales Navigator, you're presented with a home feed. Most people don't know how to use this home feed. So I'm going to explain to you in a moment how to use this home feed. One of the real big frustrations people have about LinkedIn is finding enough of the right decision makers. So what happens is you try and find people, and then on LinkedIn.com, you end up with all sorts of randoms. How many of you get messages on your email from people and you can tell they've not done any research? How many of you can tell that you get emails on LinkedIn and people haven't done research? One of the laziest things that happen because of the invention of social media is what I call lazy messaging. No research, no nothing. They just send you a sales pitch. So one of the things that you need to be aware of is when you're trying to outreach, research matters a lot. If you want people to respond to you, people will respond if you have put the time in to actually talk to them and engage with them. So I'm going to show you the Sales Navigator features and how to get the most from them so you can get leads and sell more with Sales Navigator. And ask questions in the chat. So if you've not got Sales Navigator, just the home feed is totally different on Sales Navigator than LinkedIn.com. It has nothing to do with your connections at all. Yeah, Bev, it's really annoying. Good. So when we come to Sales Navigator, we can curate the home feed with people that we want to do business with. So we can curate the home feed. And the way we curate the home feed is by saving people in Sales Navigator. So we save people in Sales Navigator and it creates a home feed that's populated with decision makers. So if I see here home feed and I can filter by accounts, companies, leads, people. So anybody I save or any company I save on Sales Navigator, when I click leads, it will now show me all of the things that my leads have been up to. So I can see here, I've got Neil Patel here. He shared something. Okay. Let me just filter it. So I can filter here at the top. Just bear with me. Filter here by what my leads have been sharing. And it will show me all the stuff my leads have been sharing. So I can view the content and it will load the content of what my leads have been doing on LinkedIn. So I can see in real time, I don't think this is updated on my account. Let me just refresh my browser. But every time I save a lead, their activity is populated into here. So if I'm trying to build bridges with a decision maker, if I'm trying to get to know somebody through social media, guess what? All of their activity, everything, every move they make is put into this home feed. So it's just all the noise of LinkedIn is gone. And now I just have all the people who I'm interested in doing business with and everything that they do, everything their company does, everything they do. And guess what? I can strategically engage with them to build up that relationship. The days of being able to just, as Bev put there, send blind messages to lots of people. It's just playing the lottery. It's playing the lottery and hoping things will work. David Perry's got most of my shares get little impressions. David, maybe we'll come to that in the end. David, if you want to ask that question towards the end, we'll look into that. So the home feed is filled with decision makers. Charlie, yes, there is a native Salesforce integration. And so what you can do is you can push information through back to Salesforce, so it will integrate to tell you what's going on. So Salesforce is a native integration. So of course, what I want to do is I want to find decision makers. So if saves, and this is the important thing, when you save somebody, they go into a list. Saves go into a list. Filters are how you find people. So if I go into lead filters here, look at the ton of search filters I can find people. Tons of them. So the first thing is if I'm trying to get business, Bev, do it, ask them. If I want to find leads who I'm already connected to, one of the great filters is, I'm going to do it now and go, okay, I want to find first degrees, so people I'm already connected to who meet my target audience. So I can use all of these filters, including how big is the company. I can use the industries. I can use the years of experience. I can use job title. I can use any of these filters, even the language of their profile, to find people. I can also search by name. So for example, I think me and Bev are connected. I think we are, Bev. Yeah, there we are. So me and Bev are connected and I can search by first name on LinkedIn. I can search through all of my connections to find who of my prospects am I already connected to. It's easier to sell and approach people who you've been connected to with a good length of time. It's also easier because they've probably seen your posts. If you've been consistently posting, they've probably seen you on the feed a little bit. And so it's much warmer. And here's the tip. The longer you're connected to somebody, the better the feedback and engagement you're going to get. So if you imagine, if I'm connected to somebody brand new today and I try to sales pitch them and get them onto a call, it's going to be tough. But if somebody's seen me 7, 10, 15, 20 times, it's way easier. So think about that in your strategy and in your planning. If they've seen you more, it's more likely that they are going to be responsive. And likewise, if Bev was my prospect and I chose to engage with her posts and content, and I decided to interact with Bev a little bit more, she's going to be more responsive when I outreach to her because she'll seen there's been some kind of reciprocal interactions over a period of time. So yes, you can fire out copy and paste messages, but to be honest with you, the best thing to do is strategically approach people. So what I'm going to do, just for the sake of tonight's session, I'm going to search by people who currently work for MAVERRIK, just primarily so that I can take somebody through the whole process. And so here I am, connection first. So I'm going to pick on Terry. So Terry's our COO, and I've done all my search filters to find my list. And let's assume that Terry's my lead. So I'm going to save Terry. Click on Terry. I'm going to save Terry into, let me just save him properly. Save him, and I can create a list. So these are going to be sell more with Sales Nav demo. So I'm going to create that list and I'm going to save Terry into it. So that's the first thing, number one. So I've saved Terry into the list, and then I'm going to save Imogen into that list too. My mouse keeps jumping here. And I can put, my mouse is jumping all over the place. So I can, just let me, bear with me. I can save Imogen into that list too. And so I've created a list, and Imogen's in it and Terry's in it, and you could add 50, 60, 100 people, however many you want into that list, but keep it manageable. Keep it manageable. When I go into my lead list at the top here, and I go into my sell more with Sales Navigator, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit just because I think the mouse is getting nuts here. So I can see I've got my 2 people in this list. Now, because I've saved these 2 accounts, in the next few hours, LinkedIn's going to populate the home feed with Imogen and Terry's activity. And you can see here, right, Imogen's in Bristol, Terry's in Plymouth, and my last activity is logged, right? And I can add notes here about 27th of the 9th, 2022, arranged meeting with Imogen for 28th of the 9th, 2022. And I can save that. So every time I come back to Imogen, I have a note of what my last action was. So I can use LinkedIn Sales Navigator as like a mini CRM, not for the whole deal cycle, but just for the initial phases to get things going, because one of the biggest problems people have on LinkedIn is remembering where they're up to with the different people. They forget. We forget. We have a really good conversation with somebody on Monday, can't remember the name by Thursday, because we don't log anything. And Sales Navigator is a simple way to go, I'm going to save that person into a list, put a note there, and I can come back and look at what's happened. So this is really important, because if, let's say, Imogen isn't my decision maker, let's say Imogen isn't that, I could create a little bit of an opportunity, and then just because I don't remember it, I've lost her. So as you can see, Imogen and Terry are saved into that list. So every move that they make, it takes a couple of hours, but every move that I make is they're going to show up in this feed here. So Imogen posts something, I'll know. If it's Imogen's birthday, I'll know. If Imogen changes jobs, I'll know. If Terry changes jobs, if Terry posts, if it's Terry's work anniversary, I will know. Why does that matter? That matters because I can then be one of the people who are actively engaging with them. Not in an intensity to be their number one fan, but strategically interacting over a period of time. And the sweet spot, by the way, is 7 to 10 days. Now, Rugil, I think that is, or Rugil, has asked, can you move these notes to your CRM? Salesforce, yes. Salesforce, it is a one-way integration back to Salesforce. But yes, you can move the notes back to Salesforce. So that allows you to remember where you're up to, and you go into the lead list here and you can see these are the people I'm working on at the moment. And let's say for an example, Imogen's not interested. If Imogen's not interested, what I can do is move Imogen to another list, which is my follow-up in future. So I could move Imogen, add her to another list, and then remove her from this list, and then what happens is I've only got a current list of the people I'm working on. When I go back into my lead lists and I go follow up in future, there's Imogen. So I can create lists and move people through a process. So if people don't engage with me the first time, I can put them in a follow up in future list. And the people who are responsive, I can stay in a current list. So it's a great way to categorize your connections. Don't do it with too many people, because it becomes unmanageable. But I might work on 25 to 50 people at a time, and I engage with them strategically over a period of time, not a day, a couple of days, maybe even a couple of weeks, get them connected, engage with them, warm them up by engaging, liking and commenting, all that stuff, and then approach them. If they're not interested, I can move them to a follow-up in future and follow them up. So this is a great way to workflow your approach to LinkedIn. Instead of just firing out stuff and hoping something works, what I can do is actually research them. So if I look at Maverick, for an example, Imogen, I want to strike up a conversation with Imogen. So in Sales Navigator, I can look at Imogen's profile. I can see what she's been doing. I can see Imogen's posted today, and I can see all of Imogen's activity. I can see all of the things that we've got in common, myself and Imogen. And then below that, LinkedIn shows me more people who might be interesting to me based on my network and my activity. And I can look through all of Imogen's profile here on. And obviously there's no CRM linked up to this Sales Nav here. But also, if I want to create a conversation with Imogen, I actually want to understand Maverick better. So I want to look at the company. So as I go down, I can click on the company, and I can see here that here's what LinkedIn knows about Maverick. It's quite a lot, really. So I can look at, can this be integrated with HubSpot? Massimo, there are bridge apps that you can use to integrate to HubSpot, but there's not a native application, I don't believe, at the moment. But you can use things like Zapier, and there are HubSpot link HubSpot, I think it is, that you can use. So I can look through the whole of Maverick here. So it gives me details of Maverick. There's 47 employees on LinkedIn. The estimated revenue that LinkedIn thinks it is, it's slightly out, but still it's there or thereabouts. And then it'll show me a buyer intent score. Now, of course, I'm Maverick, so Maverick's not going to have an interest in buying Maverick services, but it will give you a score, and this one's neutral. So inside it will give you buyer insights, a bit like that video I shared over the weekend if you saw it. If you didn't, drop us an email about the LinkedIn hidden features that gives you leads every week. Drop us an email and we'll send you the video. I know some people have had some trouble downloading it or getting access to it, but if you drop me an email, I'll send it. Yes, Massimo, I'll show you that in a second. So when I look at the company page here, I've got the buyer intent of the company. I can see the growth of Maverick. So you can see in September 2020, there was 26 employees. And by September 2022, there's 47. So 21 new employees, 80% growth in 2 years, and slightly down in the last 6 months. And you can see all of the alerts on the company. So when I'm outreaching to Imogen, I'm not just looking at, okay, what's going on? I'm actually looking at, okay, what's happening in Maverick's world, because I can contextualize my outreach. And I can see, okay, so let's have a look at the company. What's the growth? Okay, I can see the growth and I can see new hires. I can see job openings. So I can see all of the stuff that's going on, and I can see a whole list of stuff to contextualize my outreach to Imogen so I can research it better. Because one of the biggest things that mistakes people make is they don't research properly. And you can make a little account map here. So buyer intent, Charlie's asked a good question. Buyer intent, how is it calculated? It's based on people's behavior on the platform. So for an example, if I go into and this is what I did in the video over the weekend, and then I'll come to Massimo's question and Bev's question. If I go into account lists, if I have the top Sales Navigator, it shows me here top accounts expressing buyer interest, and it shows me that these companies are researching Maverick. So they're looking at people's profiles on LinkedIn, and they're looking at the company page. So LinkedIn's tracking people's activities and going, oh, Dean, people at Google are actually engaging with us. People are engaging with Maverick, and they're engaging with members of staff. So I can see every week that these companies are paying attention to Maverick. So it's LinkedIn's own criteria, but it's the buyer intent is found on the company page itself. So if I go on to, I'll go on to linkedin.com, because they obviously have some interest in what we do. And I scroll down and it will show me people suggested leads. And then you see here, LinkedIn's buyer intent in us. Company page engagement. They're engaging with our company page. LinkedIn employees. Done. And profile view page, they're viewing employees. And you can see top buyer intent alerts. And these are some of the people that are paying attention to my profile who say they work at LinkedIn. So that's how it works. It's LinkedIn's own buyer intent score. And in the account list, we've got a whole video on this you can have. Yes, Edward, you can have this on law firms. It's the advanced feature, Brandon. And again, on the lead lists here, when I go into the lead list, LinkedIn's suggesting these are people you should absolutely try and talk to, Dean. And it gives me 100 people every week. 100 people you should absolutely try and talk to, Dean. Please try and talk to these people because they're curious or interested. They're expressing some buyer interest in you. And there's 100. So the more you use Sales Navigator, the more LinkedIn will start to show you these people. David, yes. How did you not know about this? Yeah. Like I said in the video over the weekend, a lot of this is hidden features that they don't tell you about. Bev's asked the question of, can I switch? Yes. Premium and Sales Navigator are two different services, but when you get Sales Navigator, you get Premium. But if you buy Premium, you don't get Sales Navigator. So Sales Navigator has got all these bells and whistles, and I want to show you one other bell and whistle before we dig into the search, because the search is really good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy a link and I'm going to paste it onto my profile. Just bear with me a second. I'm going to copy a link and we're going to do a little experiment if you're all good with this. I'm going to just post this now quickly. Hopefully it works in real time. Just wait for the preview to load. It's not a great preview on this one, but I'll post it anyway. Just bear with me, I'll post it and then you can go have a look at it. So what I want you to do is go and have a look at this post. Yeah, you'll find it on my LinkedIn profile, Dean Seddon. Go find this post and go and have a click of it and have a look. Go have a look at this, and I'm going to show you one other feature which is pretty cool. So go have a look at this. The key thing when you approach Linda, yes, but you're right, Linda. A lot of people are looking at you because they're trying to sell. But what LinkedIn Sales Navigator goes is it learns who your prospects are. The more you use it and the more you save people into your profile, into your LinkedIn Sales Navigator account, LinkedIn starts to learn, Dean's interested in people who run their own business. Dean's interested in marketing communications managers. Dean's interested in salespeople. So it learns who Dean's interested in, and so that intent is based on who I'm looking at. So if I'm looking at a certain type of people, CEOs for an example, LinkedIn goes, these CEOs are paying attention to Dean. Dean, you might want to have a look at these. That's how it works. So have a look at that post. I'm going to show you another feature, and then we're going to dig into the search, because there's loads of search filters that will make your life a ton easier. So hopefully some of you have looked at that post. Let's see if anybody's engaged with it. It's a bit very boring. So yeah, Vladimir's liked the post. Have a look at the post. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to refresh my Sales Navigator here. Right. So you see, when I started, this Rapid Leads for LinkedIn had 56 viewers. Yep. So it had 44. It's now got 56. When I click Analytics, hello James Trenholm, hello Andrea, hello Stuart, hello George, hello Diane, hello Charlie, hello Bev, hello Linda, hello Anna, hello Chelsea, and I can see who's looking at that piece of content. So, it's 61 now. Matthew, James, Andrea. So you see how that works? So these are some of the features that Sales Navigator has that most people don't know how to use. Now, if you're producing lots of content on your profile, you can strategically drop these smart links into your feed. Urban, I don't know what your first name is. It looks like it's a business YouTube. Urban, you have to have the advanced, Sales Navigator package. But once you've got it, you can then strategically drop these into your feed and see who's paying attention. And you can also drop them into messages. And I use them globally. I give lots of people one link, and I give some people one unique link. And then I can see who's paid attention. So I can drop the smart link into a message. I can drop the smart link into an email. It works off of LinkedIn too. And I can drop it into my feed. And so I can see who's paying attention and who isn't. So I could say, for an example, drop a message to Linda on LinkedIn and say, hi, Linda. I put together some resources that I think could really help you in your business. I'd be more specific than this, and share it with Linda. And if Linda clicks it out of curiosity, I know. And the other thing is, I don't know whether you'll be able to see this, but I'll just show you. Hopefully this will work. I might just disrupt here. Let's pick on. I'm going to basically the TV people are going to go nuts with me, but I'm going to do it anyway. There's my email, and I can see Linda Reddin is viewing my Rapid Leads for LinkedIn. Linda, sorry I made you famous tonight. Apologies. Bob, your question about the suggested leads, it's based on what you're doing. So the more you use Sales Navigator, the more accurate it gets. So if you're looking in a particular territory, when you set up Sales Navigator, you can set those parameters. But if you haven't, Make sure your leads are all in the right place and the right people, so Sales Navigator starts to learn from who you're prospecting. Kamla, I'd have to double check because they've changed the packages recently, but it's the top package. So it's the top package. Daniel. Yes, Daniel, yes. But the key thing is you design something that's got some, if you're going to use it in the feed, number one, if you're going to use it in the feed, you need to really be active and highly visible on the platform. We've got a whole training program on that if you need to know about that. So you need to be highly visible and active on the platform. You can't just drop it and hope for the best. You have to be strategic about, we call it running your profile hot. In other words, you're highly visible, you've got a lot of attention. You can do that inside a couple of weeks. Get that, and then you can drop that in and just follow things up. That's the first one. Daniel, that was Daniel's question. John, so without advance, it does not show the intent, but are the suggested leads people who, yes, the suggested is based on, the suggested is people like the leads you've already got. Intent is based on their interest in you. So suggested are people who look like you, lookalikes of your prospects. Buyer interest are people who are curious about you and paying attention. Can the privacy settings of the person limit it? I honestly don't know the answer to that, but as it stands at the moment, I would assume so from a GDPR point of view. There must be some kind of limits in there, but my guess is most people have not tinkered with these settings, so they're on for mostly everybody. So you've seen a couple of sexy features, but sexy features without any kind of strategy will not work. Yeah. Everybody gets hooked on the smart links and the leads, but what do you do with them? What do you do with them? So the first thing is, if you've got suggested leads, you want to kind of approach them carefully. You don't want to be too intense because you will put people off, but likewise, you want to be straight to the point. So say for an example, I'm approaching Imogen. Yeah, well, let's do it in Sales Nav. And then we'll go to the search. So if I look at Imogen here, if I wanted to get a conversation with Imogen, one of the best things to do is try and engage with Imogen first. So I'm loading Imogen's post here. She posted today. Officially been 1 year since she joined. Well, so if I want to engage with Imogen, the first thing I'm going to do is try and comment. Now, some people are going to ask me a question in a minute about what about the people who don't post? I'll come to that in a moment. But if I want to engage with Imogen, one of the best things you can do to engage with somebody first is, number one, engage with them. Then I look at Imogen, and I can see here, Imogen has the green dot on her profile. Now, the green dot on Imogen's profile basically tells me she's active. So I can message Imogen and say, and I can chat with Imogen like that. Now, if I want to approach Imogen for business, I would be looking at when was she last active so that I could follow up in a meaningful way. So I wouldn't be templating it, although we have templates that people can work through. What I'd be looking at is how Imogen's responding to people and how I can engage with her. Because if I just cold picture, I have to be really relevant, really focused in my response, in my outreach. I can't just pitch and copy and paste because the success rate is really poor. But if I've engaged with the person 3 or 4 times over 7 to 10 days before I message, my response rate is like 10 times better. So the current average, by the way, is to get three positive responses, you'd have to message 100 people 4 times. So 400 messages to get 3 positive responses. Whereas if I'm doing it in this way, it will be something like 3 interactions with 25 people to get 3 positive responses. See the difference? 3 interactions in the 7 to 10 days beforehand, if they're connected, of course. A few more if I have to connect. And 3 out of 25 will be positive. Very different. Now, Lorraine said the green dot on Sales Navigator. So let me just have a look. Yes, you see it at the top there. So the green solid dot means they're active on mobile. The green hollow dot, the green circle, means they're active on desktop. So understanding that dot makes a big difference in understanding who's there and who's not. If I message Imogen, I'll get a quicker reply. It's evening now, but I get a quicker reply if she's got the solid green dot, or if the green circle, than if they've got nothing, where I have no idea how active they are. And now you know about this green dot, right? And you go onto LinkedIn and start scrolling down. Changes the way you message people because, oh, Linda's here. George is on desktop. Tim's on mobile. Dominic's on desktop. Heather's on mobile. Ben's on mobile. Bob's on mobile. Now you know where people are inactive. So you know if there's no dot or no circle, it's going to take a while to message back. And likewise, if there's green dot or circle, you know who's going to respond pretty quickly. So you can determine how good your message and your outreach is. So LinkedIn search, let's just have a look at the search in more detail, because there's a couple of features in the search which will make your life a bit easier. When you do all of the searches, a couple of quick tips. Function. Mobile is definitely more responsive. Definitely. Mobile is definitely more responsive. And a bit like cold calling. It's a little bit like cold calling. In the sense of, if you're going to send a message, you want to really make sure you pick your timing well. Why? I'll give you a couple of tips. First thing is, if you message early in the morning, that can be good, but if people don't see it, your message could get buried under all sorts of other stuff. That's the first thing. So if you just message early, it can be good because you can be early bird catches the worm, but it can also mean that your message is buried. So I find that the best time is actually later in the day, into the early evening, especially with the green dots. The hollow or the circles are better in the day, in the business hours, because they're on a computer. So if you start to think about this and go, hollow dots I need to get during the business day because they're on a computer. Mobiles, if I go at 7 o'clock and they've got a green dot, guess what? It's on their phone. I'm more likely to get a reply. And so just understanding the difference between the circle, nothing, the circle and the solid green dot changes the way you message. The mobiles, it's better to get them in an evening because they're less likely to, and we've all done this. We've picked up LinkedIn, read a message, meant to go back to it and don't. That's why people do the prompts. But actually, if you pick your timing well, guess what? You can actually get the response there and then. This is also a good tip for CEOs. If CEOs are busy during the day and their green dots on, you can probably catch them in an evening. But remember, if you waffle on in a message, you're going nowhere. You've got to really speak to them about something that's relevant. Otherwise, you're just like everybody else, churning out, look how amazing we are, look how wonderful we are. You need to really hit them between the eyes with something super relevant or something where it's engaging and interesting and relational. There's no bit in between. So really important point. LinkedIn gives you, if you sign up for Sales Navigator, you get, first of all, intent data every week of companies and people. You get a mini CRM that will help you keep track of your prospects so you don't forget them and you follow up in a good pattern so that you're consistent in building a relationship and warming people up, breaking the ice, as I call it. With the intel on the home feed, so every lead that you save on the home feed, LinkedIn updates you to tell you what people are doing. And you can see that this guy, Georgie here, 23 minutes ago, looked at my smart link and it's told me. And I can see every move that's going on with my target companies and my target leads. So I can be really strategic in planning my approach with that person and that company so I can engage with them, build up some relationship and then message them. And whether I message them on LinkedIn or message them on email doesn't really matter, because what I'm trying to do is break the ice, stand out from the crowd, build some familiarity with who I am, my company, my name, but it's giving me all of the tools to sell more without all of that friction of having to revert to sending copy and paste messages as fast as you can to play the numbers game to actually get a return. You can be far more strategic, and as a result of being more strategic, you get better results. Now, if we've got some more questions, I'll show you some more questions, then we'll go into search. The other thing to say as well is Sales Navigator has its own mobile app separate from LinkedIn, so you can put it on your phone and you can look through your smart links, you can look through your lead lists all on your phone, just like you can with LinkedIn. So, smart links. Just whilst we're waiting for some questions, I do have a full little course on this if you want to buy it. I'll put the link in the chat. There's no pressure, but if you buy it before the end of the month, you get a one-to-one coaching call on how to use it in more detail. So I'll put the link in the chat so you can, if you want to check that out. Matthew said, is this recorded? Yes, it is, and you can have a copy. And inside the Social Selling with Sales Navigator course, if you want it, you don't have to have it. You also have message templates and frameworks you can copy and make your own version of to give you some structure, to give you some focus, as well as, I think it's about an hour and a half of tutorials on that, and also an approach, a methodology to outreach to them. So if you want that, up to the end of the month, you get a free coaching call with this. It's £95, which is roughly about $100 or so. And you get a one-to-one with a member of our LinkedIn coaches, one of our LinkedIn coaches, who will go, right, you want to use Sales Navigator? We're going to show you the whole thing, help you do it, help you approach people and give you all of those tips. So if you want it, it's there. If you don't, don't. Any questions on Sales Navigator? I want to kind of field as many questions as I can so I can help. Anybody got any questions? If not, I'll show you some search features. Anybody wants to see some search features? Anybody got some questions about, even down to, how would I find this kind of decision maker? If somebody wants to throw that to me. Yeah, can we move me to the right? There we go. David. So yeah, if anybody wants to kind of ask a question, say, Dean, show me some of my prospects. Tell me who they are, job titles, industries. Tell me anything about your prospects and I'll find them on LinkedIn and show you. Linda, yes, to answer your question, yes. Inside the course, we have a whole way to approach a prospect. So, Linda, we can show you from start to finish. We call it the 7 steps of how to go from 0 to 0 to outreach message. Paul Passett. So yeah, Paul's just asked, the green dot is active on mobile. The green circle is active on a PC or laptop. Can you utilize, Matthew's asked, can you utilize smart links for a high converting landing page? Yes. Yes, you can. Matthew, I'll let you into a little trick. It's a little bit naughty, but one of the things I did was created a PDF of a PowerPoint presentation, put it into a smart link, and then I put it on my company page. Are you ready for this? I'm going to give you $1 million idea. It's a bit cheesy, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm going to give you $1 million idea here. I did a smart link, put it on my company page, and here's what I did. You ready for this? Did the smart link, put it on my company page. The one I've just made tonight was a bit rubbish. Create the smart link, put it on my company page, post it, and then boost it. Everybody get that? Put it on my company page, post it, and boost it with paid ads. I also did it on Facebook too. Now, it doesn't work as well on Facebook as it used to, but it does work. And then you track all of the people who are looking. Works brilliantly on LinkedIn. It's a bit hit and miss on Facebook these days. Right, so let's have a look. Transport sector directors. So I'll tell you what, I'll do James's first. Right, so let me just come back to my screen. So James is looking for learning and development. So the first thing I'm going to do is I know James is based in the UK, so I'll put UK in there. So United Kingdom first of all. Then I'm going to go, okay, they're in insurance. Let me just type insurance, and there's a ton of different insurance filters. So there's like 3 or 4 different insurance. I'll just put them all in. And then in the job titles, I can put either very specific job titles, or I can put just learning and development. There's 317 I've found, James. Now I can also put in there just learning and development. But I could use all sorts of other keywords that I could put in here. Oh, I've added chiropractors in. Odd. There we go. 317. Let's have a look at another one. So there's James. Copywriting is the difficult part. Linda, if you're struggling with that, one of the things you could do is Linda, you've been on our 100 leads in 6 weeks program. If you want to, drop us a line. You can swap into our accelerator, which has all the copywriting and content creation tips in there in terms of getting leads from content, inbound, all that kind of stuff. Linda, by all means, share it. Just the course. Just be aware by the 30th, if you've not signed up by the 30th, you can get the course just without the coaching call. Stephen, prospects in the Caribbean. Right, so now this is a tricky one for me because I'd have to think of the countries in the Caribbean, but we'll have a look. My geography of that kind of part of the world is a bit hazy. So what islands are in the Caribbean? What islands are in the Caribbean? Somebody want to tell me what's in the Caribbean? We've got Barbados is there? Yeah, so I can go Barbados, Jamaica, if I can spell, Jamaica. So I can search by country. And then Stephen was saying prospects in the Caribbean were targeting as drivers who would buy a vehicle from the USA. So first thing, I'm assuming you're talking about consumers there. I'm assuming you're talking about consumers. So that would be the option. And then what I would do is look for CEOs and people who are on the higher income brackets to target people. So that's how I do it there. Let me just go down to another question. Tim said, is it possible to build a list in Sales Nav which can then be used as a saved audience within LinkedIn ads? No, that's one of the pains. You can't integrate Sales Nav and LinkedIn ads. So that's how you do it. But one of the things you can do, is if you drive traffic to a page using your profile. So say for an example, it doesn't really involve Sales Navigator, but what you can do is target people in particular LinkedIn groups. That's the other thing you can do. So you can look inside different groups on LinkedIn. So I'll just show you here. So I could go in, how many people are in Jamaica but are in a digital marketing group? Now this is a naughty feature here. So I can see in the group here, in this group digital marketing on LinkedIn, there are more than 1,000 people from Jamaica. I can join that group, and because I'm in that group, I can message those people in that group from Jamaica without using in-mail credits. So LinkedIn will show me, and I'm able to search the platform to find how many people are in a LinkedIn group. And then I could join that group and outreach to the people in that group too. Does that make sense? Sales consultant, right? So this is something. Sales consultants asking a good question here. Are there a number of connections per day or week limited? Yes, LinkedIn has a limit of 100 connections per week. However, if you're on a free account, they've started to limit it even further and say you've reached the commercial limit. In other words, pay up. Now, you can send up to 400 connection requests per month, roughly. Slightly more if there's a fifth week, but 400 per month. But on a free account, they don't even let you do that. So Sales Navigator also allows you to connect with more people, as does Premium. But obviously Sales Navigator, you can be far more accurate in finding the right people, even down to the size of companies. And the other thing is, on Sales Navigator, you can also find companies by how well they're growing. So a company that's increased in size by, say, 500 to 200% growth, and it will show you all the companies in the world based on their headcount that have increased their headcount by more than 200% in the last 12 months. So you could focus on companies where they're growing fast, or likewise, they've reduced their headcount by 85 to 100%. In other words, they've massively cut their staff. And it will show you all of the companies that have massively reduced their staff. Minus. Hang on. Company headcount. Oh, you can't reduce, but not to minus 50. There we go. It'll show you the companies that have reduced their staff by up to 50%. If you're part of a group, are their messages more unlimited rather than limited? You can message anybody as part of a group. The key thing is finding the groups with your target audience in it. And that's why the search becomes so important, because you can find out where is my target audience, which groups, and then find it there. So look, we've run out of time here, and I know I've kind of shown you a load of stuff, but I'm sure you see by now Sales Navigator is the tool to have. It is something you should not live without. So Stephen, just one more question. Stephen, if you're looking at focusing on people who can afford the cars, then obviously if you target CEOs in bigger companies in the Caribbean, it's going to make your life miles easier, because you can go, right, if a CEO's got 50 staff, they can afford to buy a car from the US. If a CEO's got 100 staff, they can afford to buy a car from the US. So you can work it out just on headcount. So look, guys, I'm sure you've got tons of questions. Please feel free to drop us an email, hi@maverick.io. If you want our Sales Nav course, it's £95, about $100. Up to the 30th of September, you get a free one-to-one coaching call with our team who will help you get set up. We'll give you our 7-step methodology, our message frameworks, and our tracker, as well as the full training on how to use Sales Nav practically how to do it to get people engaging with you, talking to you, and some example messages that you can kind of cannibalize to make your own, to actually make it work. So if you're interested in that, you've got till the 30th. But either way, if you've got questions from tonight, or I didn't answer all of your questions, or I missed a bit, drop us an email and a member of the team will come back to you and give you the answer, as well as share with you some of the other things that we've done. And likewise, if you want that video I shared over the weekend, drop us an email and we'll get it to you. But I know Sales Navigator is the must-have tool for you. I know it because I've used it for years. It's got better and better and better, and it makes your life a ton easier. It makes it easier to sell, makes it easier to approach the right prospects. It's an absolute no-brainer. So thank you for joining me tonight. If you've got value from this, please do come follow me on LinkedIn, follow wherever you're watching. Feel free to ask me questions on LinkedIn too. Thank you for joining us. We're back in 2 weeks' time for another live training session that will help you get more clients from social media without the hard sell.
Welcome to the Accelerator program, where we work with you to build your crowd and convert them into high-paying clients. The goal is to make marketing and sales less frustrating so you can run your business and provide a great service without constantly chasing new business, making sales and marketing simple and stress-free. How do we do it? By building a crowd of people who are interested in what you do, then creating deeper connections and nurturing them so they become dedicated fans of your business. The core list of engaged fans become your best clients. We call this process building your client engine. When you build one, your business grows, you'll generate clients, and your revenue will increase. We start with a goal-setting session to solidify what you want to achieve with the program. Then, each month, we'll revisit these goals to make sure that we're on track. You get full access to our entire digital training library and support across the Maverick team. You don't need to be an experienced content creator, coder, or copywriter. All you need is the right system, and you'll have your crowd that buy into you. So book a free discovery call on our Accelerator page, and we'll personally run you through the process.